Surviving a vampire attack is no easy feat. But if you follow my 5 steps and one bonus step that I'm going to go through in this video, you may stand a chance. Step 1. Know what you are facing. You may think you know all there is to know about vampires. They are charismatic, sophisticated, immortal, maybe turn into bats and drink blood. But that is just one type of vampire. In reality, they come in all shapes and forms from around the world. And before you face one, you need to know what to expect. Some vampires do indeed look just like humans and are almost indistinguishable. But then there are also some that are said to be bloated with dark purple skin and blood constantly dripping from their mouths. And yet others shapeshift, sometimes looking like a very attractive young man or young woman before transforming into a creature with wings, putting its feet in its mouth so it can fly, or having a hollow thread-like tongue that lashes out and pierces you in the neck, then laps up your blood as if drinking from a straw. There are others who fly as well. Some have super strength, super senses, super speed. They can transform into different creatures. They have a healing factor. They can regenerate wounds incredibly quickly. There are reports that some can summon animals while others can mind control humans. They are powerful beings who go about their goals in many different ways. But make no mistake, all their goals are the same. And that is to feed on your life force, usually through drinking your blood. The best way for you to understand what is coming if you come face to face with a vampire is for me to talk about the real life case, reportedly, of Petar Blagojević. Everything I'm about to tell you comes from the report of Imperial Provisor Ernst Frombold, an official of the Austrian monarchy. This report was published in the Wienerisches Diarium, a Viennese newspaper, in 1725. The newspaper is still going today, in fact, known now as the Wiener Zeitung, making it one of the oldest running newspapers in the world. I am sorry if I butchered those pronunciations. I tried my best. Petar Blagojević was born in 1662 in a small village in what is now modern day Serbia. He had a rather normal life. He had a wife, he had a son. He was very loving from all reports. He was a responsible member of the community, well liked, all was very, very nice. Unfortunately, in 1725, he died. It's not stated how he died, but in 1725 he died. He was 63 years old at the time. It was all very sad, especially at the funeral. But what the villagers did not know is that it was going to get a whole lot sadder. Following the funeral, in the next 8 days, 9 separate villagers died after being sick for less than 24 hours each. And every single one of them said Petar Blagojević, the man that had just died, had attacked them the night before. Every single one. Now, that's impossible, right? Petar Blagojević was dead and buried. And yeah, you wouldn't be weird to think that they were hallucinating or something weird was going on. And the villagers thought the same. They're like, no way, what are they talking about? That is until Petar's wife, the woman who had stayed loyally by his side for years, made an announcement. She told the villagers that the night before, Petar had come to her house to speak with her, asking for his shoes. She had refused to let him in the house and refused to give him the shoes, so he left. She said that she was moving away from the village to a different village for her own safety and security. At this point, you can imagine the panic, the fear, the confusion that the villagers were going through. But wait, it gets worse. They then found Petar's son dead in his home. I am not sure how they figured this out, but according to the reports, maybe eyewitnesses or something else, Petar came in the night to his son's house, asking for food. His son refused to give him the food, so Peter attacked him. The villagers just found the body the next day. He was showing signs of being bitten and having his blood drunk. This was all the proof the villagers needed. They dug up the body of Petar Blagojević and they insisted that Imperial Provisor Ernst Rumbold and a local priest check the body for signs of it possibly being a vampire. I will read you a little excerpt from the report that the Imperial Provisor wrote. Keep in mind, this is an official Imperial report. I have it over here. I wrote it down. The body was undecomposed. The hair and the beard were grown. There were new skin and nails, and blood could be seen in the mouth. Coming directly from the report of the Imperial Provisor Ernst Rumbold. The villagers took the Imperial Provisor and the priest confirming that this indeed was a vampire as enough proof, and they then dealt with poor Petar Blagojević in the way that they should have, which we will get to in steps 4 and 5. But for now, since you understand what it could look like coming face to face with a vampire and how dangerous they are, let's move to step 2, prevention. Vampires are formidable opponents, and the best way to make sure you survive a vampire attack is to make sure a vampire can never attack. So I would be amiss if, before I went deeper into what to do when a vampire is directly in front of you, I didn't talk about how to stop a vampire from ever coming to you. There are 2 angles to preventing a vampire attack, a more longer term one and a more shorter term one. The longer term one is making sure that they are never created in the first place, and the shorter term one are specific things that will stop a vampire that's already created coming to you specifically. Let's talk about how to stop them from being created in the first place. Now, you may think that vampires are just usually created maybe after they're bitten by a vampire. If a human is bitten by a vampire, they'll turn. Sometimes there are things like you have to be bitten and have your blood sucked, and then you have to drink the blood of a vampire. Or sometimes it's even that you have to be bitten and then buried for 7 days, or something crazy like that. It depends on where you're getting the information from. And yes, stopping a vampire from turning you like that has to do more with the stopping a vampire from approaching you directly. But there are other reported ways that someone could become a vampire that don't have something to do directly with interaction with another vampire. And these are what we're going to look at. So, it has been reported that witches, when they die, can become vampires. And also, in some Slavic and Chinese beliefs, if a cat or a dog jumps over a corpse, that corpse can rise as a vampire. Even something as simple as someone dying from a wound that hasn't been treated with boiling water can cause them to come back seeking blood. Possession is a big one as well. There are many cultures around the world that believe that an evil spirit can come to possess a corpse, and then that corpse will rise to become an extremely powerful vampire. All of these can possibly turn your loved one or you into a vampire. So that's why there are these traditions that have developed all around the world made to limit the amount of times this can happen. A big one is burying a body upside down. The idea is that if the body does come back as the undead, as a vampire, its first thought wouldn't be it wants to get out of the grave, right? So it will start digging upwards. Except if you've buried it upside down and it doesn't know, it will just keep digging and digging deeper and deeper, and it's pretty hard to turn around if you're stuck under that much earth. Another very popular idea was that if you put a scythe across the neck of a corpse, then if it does raise as the undead and it tries to get up, it will immediately be beheaded. They also use sickles for that. Imagine having to bury someone with a scythe across their neck. It's like, that's crazy. But of course there are other less violent ways to deal with it. A lot of people would weigh coffins down with stones to try and stop the vampire from being able to get out. How effective it was? Vampires can be pretty strong, but if it's a new vampire, it hasn't fed yet, who knows? Also, a popular thing was to put a bunch of sand next to graves. This is, of course, taking advantage of the fact that vampires, when they see any spilt grains, they compulsively have to count every single piece. We're going to be talking about that much more later on in the video because that is going to come in handy. All these things can help stop a vampire from being able to terrorize the living. But what if a vampire is already up and about? Well, you don't want it coming to stalk you, do you? So you need to have ways to make sure that it doesn't want to come near you. Of course, I could say something like, only go out in the daylight, only go out when the sun is up. But where's the fun in that? We want to live our lives, right? Like, we can't just live our life being scared of the sun goes below the horizon, no. So we need strategies. First of all, if you are in your home, you are safe because a vampire cannot enter anyone's home uninvited. So if you're getting some weird knock at 3 a.m. in the morning and you don't know who it is, even if you do know who it is, don't let them in, especially if they keep asking to be let in. Think about it. Imagine it's your cousin, right? You're at home, it's 3 a.m. and you hear the bell, you wake up, you're like, what? You go to the door, you're like, who is knocking in the middle of the night? And you look through your little peephole and you see your cousin, and your cousin is like, hey, help me, my car broke down, I need help, I remembered you lived here, can you help me, blah blah blah. Because likely a vampire will try come at you with some tactic, oh, I need help, this or that, especially if it's someone you know who you may not know has passed away yet. Obviously, if you know someone has passed away and then they're standing at your door after their funeral, or even before the funeral, but they've passed away, don't even answer. Just don't. But let's say you don't know, so you just see your cousin, right? If they've asked for help and you've opened the door and they know you, wouldn't they just walk in? Thank you so much. Walk in. If they ever say, so, are you gonna let me in? Can I come in? Is it okay if I come in? You close that door, okay? But of course, who is opening their door for anyone at 3 a.m. nowadays? If they don't have a key, they should not be there. That's what I say. If you should be there, you have a key. If not, don't be there. Anyway. I'm enjoying this one. Let me know in the comments if you're liking these types of videos, these how to survive videos. I'm trying them a bit. I kind of like going into depth about the creatures, talking about how to fight, how to survive. I personally think it's really cool and I'm enjoying it. So yes, when you're in your house, you'll be safe. But if you are outside at night, there are a few things that you need to carry with you. First of all, some raw garlic. Doesn't have to be a lot, but have some. Second of all, some pure silver. Just go to the jewelry shop, get even a small amount of pure silver. And the third thing, which actually won't be used in this step, but which will be used in the following steps, is a small bag of any kind of grain. That could be rice, that could be sugar, salt, beans, sand, like I mentioned earlier. Vampires have an extreme sense of smell. So even if you have a little bit of garlic, just like at the bottom of your bag or in your pocket, vampires will smell it and they will avoid you like the plague. It is one of their biggest weaknesses. They can deal with it, it doesn't kill them, but they will avoid it and just go for an easier option in most cases. Pure silver is the backup. If a vampire comes at you and you have some silver, even if it's a silver earring, a silver ring, anything, that is a weapon. Touch it to the vampire's skin, it will burn them. They'll want to get out of there. It's a really painful experience to be touched with silver for a vampire. That should protect you reasonably well, but not always. and it depends on the vampire and the situation. Again, garlic and silver, they're weaknesses for a vampire, but they don't kill it. Imagine it's like having a serious allergic reaction, but not a fatal one. You don't want to have it, but if you need something and it feels life or death for you, but it's causing adverse reaction, you can still get through it. Let's say you are the only person around and you come across a vampire that hasn't had any any blood in a really long time, and it's starving and it's desperate, and you present your garlic and your silver. It will hurt the vampire, sure, but it won't stop. It needs to feed. So that's when we have to move to step 3, conflict avoidance. You do not want to fight a vampire because chances are you will lose. Of course, if you have to fight, I am obviously going to give you the best tactics and strategies to have the best possible chance of winning. We'll get to that in step 4. But if you can avoid it, it is much better. You want to avoid conflict. So there is an extremely simple plan of what to do if you recognize that a vampire has approached you. You drop the bag of grains immediately, rip it open, spill it all over the floor. The vampire will have to, it doesn't have a choice. It compulsively has to start counting every single grain and then get out of there, but in a specific way. If you can, the first thing you want to do is cross moving water. Vampires cannot cross moving water. So if you're able to get on the other side of a river, a stream, something like that, the vampire will still be counting, and it's very likely that it could just be counting those grains until the sun comes up. It won't be able to move and it will be destroyed by the sun. But still, you want to be safe, not sorry. So the next thing you do, if you can, is cross moving water, and then you need to get into a home, ideally yours, but if it's someone else's who you know, that's great. But you need to make sure that after you're in, you don't open the door and tell anyone that they can come in. In fact, if that person has also watched this video, they're probably not going to let you in, which is why you should go to your home if you're able to. You should be fine if you follow these 3 steps, assuming of course that you recognize the vampire in time. It may stop you, that's the thing. If a vampire comes close, they're not all bloated. Some of them just look normal. Some of them look very attractive. If it gets close, you realize late and you take the bag of grains out, but it stops you. Or maybe you don't even realize that you need to because it's basically on top of you before you realize what it's trying to do and it attacks you. Then that's when we move to step 4, become a vampire slayer. You know, the fact that vampires have been around for thousands of years, and unlike some of the other creatures I've spoken about like manticores or phoenixes, vampires often come into contact with humans. Because of all this, we know exactly what their weaknesses are and exactly how to defeat them. I am assuming you don't have a gun with silver bullets, because that's hard to come across. If you do, nice. Shoot the creature, heart, head, then move on to step 5. The other ways to defeat a vampire in combat, well, I say other ways as if there are many. There are 2. One is to use a wooden stake to pierce the vampire's heart, and 2 is to behead the vampire in any way you can. Ideally with something powerful like an axe, so you can just do it in one go. Most people aren't carrying wooden stakes around with them, so that's why I'm saying conflict avoidance all the way. But if you do have a wooden stake, or if you can find one if you have to fight, or if you do have some kind of bladed weapon where you could behead a vampire, based on my research, the best way to deal with them is, again, does depend on the grains. If you have any grains, or if you can find any, spill it on the ground. The vampire will compulsively have to count and then stab it or behead it. If you don't have grains, then use the garlic, use the silver, do what you can to hurt it and distract it, and then go for it. Those are the strategies. You see, if you have no weapons, then I don't know what to tell you, because just fight your best, try and find something, run away, cross moving water, like do what you have to do, improvise, but just know that your chances are slim to none. The reason I tell most people to spill the grains then get out of there is because, one, most people don't have the weaponry on a normal day-to-day basis, and two, it's traumatizing to deal with something like that. You want to get out of there. And three, if there's one vampire in the area, there's no reason to say that there aren't more. So it's best to just get out of there as soon as possible. But that is also the best strategy to actually defeat the vampire in a fight. If you have defeated the vampire in a fight, you've staked it through the heart or you've beheaded it, then you can move on to step 5, dispose of the body. Vampires are pretty much immortal unless they are destroyed in particular ways. That means that even if you stake them through the heart or you behead them, oftentimes that's not enough. Given a long enough time, they will heal and they will come back. So that's why you have to truly burn the body. Now you could potentially just wait until the sun comes up and the sun could do it for you, but why wait if you're in that situation? Like I say, there could be other vampires around. So what you do is you burn the body, except that you burn the heart separately. Now, some people say that just burning the whole body together is good enough. Me personally, if you're gonna do it, I'd say do it thoroughly. And I know for a fact, based on my research, that if you burn the body and the heart separately, that vampire is not coming back, not ever. Of course, then you have the gruesome task of, how do I put this in a YouTube friendly way? Separating the heart from the body, which is very gruesome and horrible. And again, that's why fighting the vampire, even if you can win, I do not suggest to everyone. But burn the body and the heart separately. That vampire will never be able to come back. So I'd say this video has been pretty thorough. We spoke about how to escape from a vampire and how to slay a vampire and make sure that it stays dead this time. However, of course, not everything goes to plan. And sometimes you may be in a situation where you're not able to escape, or you're not even able to fight. Or maybe you've tried to escape and been caught, then you try to fight and have been beaten. What do you do then? Well, there is only one other option that you can possibly do. And it's going to be a controversial one, so hear me out. It is the bonus step. Convince the vampire to turn you. Wait. Yes, you heard right, but give me a chance to explain. Look, this is a very personal decision, because if you truly have been defeated by a vampire, then you are about to have your blood sucked and you will lose your life. At that point, you have lost. So what can you possibly do in that situation if you want to survive, except for ask for the vampire to turn you? Now, some people will say, no way, I would never want to be a vampire. I'd rather just pass away. And that is fine. That is your personal choice. This is a completely personal choice. But if you are interested in continuing life in some sort of capacity, then I would not be doing my job if I did not give you all the options. So what you can do is attempt to convince the vampire to turn you into a vampire. You see, the life of a vampire can get extremely lonely. Vampires often live in solitude, often have a lot of conflict with their own kind. So if you are able to ask for it to turn you and offer your companionship, basically forever, then the vampire may be swayed and it may actually turn you, and then you are living on as an undead creature who needs blood. And of course, what you do then Whether you are telling the truth or not, that's up to that situation, but you'll be on a more level playing field. But if you do want to continue in some sort of capacity on this world, then that is what you can do. But again, this is a completely personal decision. I mean, I definitely know what I would do. If you feel you are prepared to face a vampire after this video, then good. But what about a phoenix? Because phoenixes are no joke. Click this video to see what I mean.